G'day guys, and today Shorty and I are going to have a bit of a discussion on external recruitment versus internal recruitment. It's certainly a big talking point whether either method is more effective or one method is more effective than another. Shorty, you're going to have a bit of a chat about internal recruitment, mate. What have you got to say about that?
Yeah, I guess the two sides that come to mind and have been the most successful over sort of the past 7 or 8 years are Geelong and Hawthorn, and I'll have a look at the Cats from the internal point of view there. Geelong has sort of, made a fine art out of finding gems late in the draft and, building them up through their sole VFL side, and they've really done that brilliantly, like obviously winning the 2007 VFL, 2012 I think it was, and grand final last year. And they continue to, build from the, within their own walls sort of thing. They've, Stephen Wells, I guess, is the guy that you sort of look at there. He's been fantastic for the club and widely regarded as the best recruiter and the best eye for talent. And that's sort of how Geelong have gone about it. I mean, they have picked up some, great players in like Enright and Chapman, Ling. Corey was somewhat high, but even Joel Selwood, no one wanted to take a punt on him and because of his knee injury, but he proved to be a gem at pick 7, and Harry Taylor out of the blue and Mackie as well. So they've made an art form out of it, and it's an interesting one. Like, they've also recruited guys like McIntosh, Caddy and Rivers of late to sort of, fit some certain roles. But overall, Geelong have really been about that internal recruitment.
Absolutely, yeah.
And really going, backing their own coaches and backing their own developing, their system to develop players. And I mean, it's proven success with 3 flags, and and that has stemmed from, they also won the 2002 VFL Grand Final, which had the likes of Ablett, Kelly, Bartel, all coming through, Steve Johnson as well. So that's how the Catters have gone about it, and to great success as well. But on the flip side, you wanted to have a look at more of the external way about going about it in the form of Hawthorn. Yeah,
well, obviously, if you followed the footy over the last few years, you've probably realised that the Hawks have picked key position players to sort of, I guess, fill gaps. But not only that, they've played their role really well, and obviously have delivered 2 flags in the last sort of 6 years or so.
Yeah.
And they've been terrific. You think of players like Gibson, think of David Hale. It does seem, when ruckmen do get traded to quality sides, that they somehow find a way to win a premiership. You think of Ottmans, you think of Jolly, you think of Mumford.
Yep.
So, there's 3 quality ruckmen right there.
Yeah.
Also the likes of Jack Gunston, who's probably just about their second best forward, I think, at the moment. He was sort of that 3rd tier up forward last year when they had Buddy. And even when they were sort of getting used to him not being there, he was sort of second, and when he was out, Jack was certainly getting a go. And Sean Burgoyne, who's an excellent player in the clearances. He's exceptional. He can break games open, and he's one of those sort of wild cards that can really damage your side if you don't sort of man him up and I guess stop his influence. He can be very damaging.
Found that out late last year.
Oh, they did. Big time. And also a few other players you've got. Brian Lake, who won him a premiership in 2013. He was obviously he won the Northsmith medal, so he was best on ground. Even though Pav did kick a few, he was just a few key marks during the game, and he's just that big body that can take a great intercept mark and just cause havoc for the opposition. You sort of think, our full forward's not going to have a great game this week. He's probably got Lakey, so.
And probably second best on ground was Jack Gunston.
Yep.
There's another bloke that you mentioned before too.
So which just highlights the importance of how Hawthorn have gone about their external recruitment, and they've even gone for Big Boy McAvoy, who's been a very handy acquisition. We don't know how well he'll go yet, but all going well, he could even challenge for another flag, and thus another great story for a ruckman travelling to another club.
Yeah, and I think the timing was the best part of that as well. Having lost Bailey, I think, all of a sudden the weakness in Hawthorn's great side was clearly going to be the ruck department. And they bring in McAvoy, who's coming into his prime as a ruckman.
24, 25.
And all of a sudden, it's probably the pickup of the trade period.
Yeah, no, it will certainly be handy for the Hawks this year.
Yeah.
And also, there's a few other Hawks that have also done really well on their journey, and that would come from different clubs. You think of Brent Guerra as well. He's no longer there, but he certainly helped him in 08 and 2013 as well. So he went out on a good note. Yeah. And we'll just get into a discussion about what method's better. Do you think there's one method that just is better than the other one?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I don't think there's one clear method that's better, but you'd have to say a healthy mix of both is sort of what clubs aspire to. You know, sort of you build up a great side, because the Box Hill Hawks defeated Geelong in last year's VFL Grand Final, so it shows they've got those young kids coming through as well as being a great side in the AFL, and I think it's all about building that, having a healthy mix, and sort of, I guess, topping up on what the list you've already built, and sort of finding those last pieces of the premiership puzzle to sort of take you to that final step. But do you have any thoughts on what's possibly a better way of going about it, Tyson?
Well, I think really, it's good to have a mixture of both. But I think internal recruitment could even surpass it. Obviously, with a bit of external recruitment, but I think if you focus on sort of your own system, back your players, coaches, and recruiting staff to do the job. But like Geelong were smart getting Jared Rivers to sort of fill the Matthew Scarlett role, and also getting McIntosh to fill that ruck void. You think having him in the final last year would have been pretty handy in both finals that we sort of didn't go too well in. But
definitely. I guess that method's more sustainable, isn't it? Like,
sustainability is absolutely the key word with internal recruitment. But Geelong are very privileged to have the recruiting manager Stephen Wells, like you mentioned. But a healthy mix of both is probably what you want. But to have sort of, I reckon it builds the culture of the club as well. If you just focus mainly on internal recruitment, but you'd like to have a bit of both. But I think it's best to back in your own system, and then it's sort of like they're your players.
Exactly.
So that's those are my thoughts.
I think you're right there. It's sort of showing that if you do have a healthy club and a good culture, that you can sort of bring those players through pretty good. And there's not always going to be a Buddy Franklin or a Dale Thomas or a Brian Lake just sitting around getting, ready for another club. A bit more common now with free agency, but I think it's, like we said, it's certainly easier to sustain if you can, build from your own resources.
Absolutely. So those are some thoughts from Shorty and myself. In the comments, put whether you think internal recruitment or external recruitment is the better option. We say it's a bit of both. It's one of those questions. You can't really just sort of say yes or no without having sort of a reasonable justification to say why. And just a shout out for my mate Dari Joe, who also does the Geelong goal videos each week. He does some pretty good stuff, doing what I used to do. So go and check him out. Subscribe to him for some Cats highlights. And also like the video if you enjoyed it, and we'll
subscribe to you as well, mate.
Oh yeah, sure. If you're feeling nice, we'll see you guys all soon.
Cheers.